Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stamp It Up with Jaimie. Thank you so much for watching. If you're catching this on replay or on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. I'm pretty excited to share tonight's card with you because I kind of stumbled upon another, I'm not sure if she's a demonstrator or if she just is a crafter, but I stumbled upon someone by the name of Jan Tinklenberg. I'm gonna hope I'm pronouncing that correct. So today's card was definitely inspired by her, and I want to make sure I give the layout kind of credit to her. I normally don't do too many fun folds, but I found this one. I was really inspired by it. It's a trifold. It kind of opens like that, and this little bit here on the front matches the ornaments here. So although the ornaments are stamped adhered to this part of the card, you can still see it on the front. Hello, Amy and Judy, Lori. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in and get you going. It's kind of important to know the dimensions of this card if you plan on replicating it. Good evening, Roz. Hello. So I'm starting with Pretty Peacock. Now my color kind of palette for this is Pretty Peacock and Night of Navy. Although I probably should have, where is it? I'll throw Mossy Meadow in there too because I did use that. This is my color palette. It was definitely inspired by the brightly gleaming designer series paper that we have right now. That's in the holiday catalog. Hello, Sandra and Lynn. Nice to see you, ladies. Thank you for joining me tonight. So this is my inspiration, definitely like my color palette that I'm going with. Hi, Terry. Hello. Did I freeze? It almost looks like I froze. If I'm good, would you guys just let me know? Okay. I think I froze on my computer for some weird reason. Anyways, so this is my color palette. Again, it's pulling from the Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper, which I did feature a little bit here. That is one of the patterns in the pack there. And I'm starting off with Pretty Peacock. And I've cut this 5.5, and it's by 10 3/8. So 5.5 by 10 3/8. And then I've scored it at the 2-inch line, and then I scored it at the 6 1/4 line. Okay, good. I don't know what's wrong with my computer, but I froze on my computer. I'm going to hopefully still follow comments, so hopefully I don't lose anybody. And this one folds in first, like so, and then this guy folds in second. Okay, so again, it's kind of like a trifold kind of card. This little bit is your only 2 inches though. I didn't want it too big. So, okay, thanks, Roz. Hi, Michelle. Good evening. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is take one of those patterns from the Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper. This happens to feature the Pretty Peacock and Night of Navy colors, but the back is gorgeous. Isn't that so pretty? It has touches of copper in it, and it does feature more of a very vanilla color kind of base to it, although I am matting it on Whisper White. So this is just our standard 4 by 5.5. Actually, no, it won't be 4 by 5.5. It'll be just ever so slightly smaller. 3 by 7/8 and by 5 1/8. It looks like, and then the Whisper White would be the 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, I just do a little matting, and then we're going to adhere that on the first inside of the card. I guess I can't say inside because that's one more step in. Okay, so like that. There we go. Okay, I'm just pulling up on my computer. It's a little easier for me to follow along on my computer than on my phone here. So we're going to be using the Christmas Gleaming bundle. It starts off with this beautiful stamp set here. Gorgeous ornaments. I am just such a sucker for beautiful ornaments. Great sentiments. This kind of what Amy would call a flourish. I don't know how else to describe that kind of beautiful flourish. That's what we're going to leave it at. We have like a couple little dots here to add some kind of fun detail to it. And then this beautiful holly and leaves. And that we're going to use as well. So, and the bundle does come with 2 of the ornaments. So there were 2 sizes. These two guys are the same size. They're a little bit larger, and then this little guy down here. And the bundle does come with both of the punches to be able to fit. Hi, Trudy. Good evening. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use the bigger of the two, the kind of longer ornament here. Flourish works for pretty things without a name. Exactly. I don't know how else to describe that little detail. We'll leave it at that. And I'm going to, on that 2-inch flap here that I have, that was scored already, I'm going to put in the one ornament. And depending on, like, if I do it like that, it's going to put a bigger hole. If I do it like that, it's going to be a sort of a lesser hole. I kind of wanted a little bit of the, what's that called? That little top piece. Oh my goodness, I have no clue what that's called. Hold on. This. What is that called? What's that part of the ornament called? I wanted a little bit of that to show through. I don't know what it's called. And then I punch. Okay, so that's the first little one. And then I found it easier to do the smaller one second, because I can kind of weave it in. So my inspiration from Jan that I found on Pinterest, she used a die. And so obviously doing this with a die would be a lot easier than a punch, because you don't have to worry about somehow finagling a punch into the middle of your card. But I'm always up for a good challenge. So hopefully this works. I want it a little higher, and obviously because I'm using a punch, I can't exactly have too much cutting into it, so I'm just going to cut a little bit out. Okay, so you're left with like the negative, so to speak. Hi, Lisa. Good evening. Hi, Joanna. A topper. Maybe? I don't know. I have no clue what that's called. A hook? No, that's not the hook. The little doodah. We'll call him doodah. When in doubt, call it a doodah. I don't know what it's called. Okay. Hi, Joanna. So glad you're here. So this is where we're at. Let's go ahead and make the ornaments. Now, I made this, and I'm considering tonight, and you let me know your thoughts, I'm considering, instead of doing this one in the Pretty Peacock cardstock, doing it in the Night of Navy as well. I think you lose this one a little bit because it is the matching cardstock to the actual card, whereas the Night of Navy pops. What do you think? I was thinking about doing this one in the Night of Navy as well. I'm going to start with the big one because I know for sure that one's going to be a Night of Navy, and you let me know your thoughts. The flourish top. When in doubt, everything's a flourish. That's funny. So you let me know your thoughts. If nobody objects and definitely wants the Pretty Peacock, I think I'm going to do it in the Night of Navy. Now we're going to heat emboss these images. So first I'm going to wipe my cardstock down with the embossing buddy here just to get rid of all static. Doohickey thingamabob. Yes, one of those raws. The thing. I don't know what that's called. I feel like I'm going to have to Google it afterwards. Like, what is the topper of an ornament called? I don't know. Okay, so, see, now I'm all thrown off. I'm going to ink up my ornament in the Versamark ink because it's nice and sticky. It'll stay tacky for a nice long time for me. And I just realized I didn't pull out I usually like to have my powder ready to go. I'm using white embossing powder today. So I stamp the ornament. I'm going to generously sprinkle it with the white embossing powder, tap off any excess. Sometimes I even do like a little flick on the back of the cardstock just to get off any excess. And did anybody object? Nobody objected. Okay, I'm gonna do the small one in the blue as well. I think it'll just pop a little bit bigger, a little bit more, I should say, than the Pretty Peacock. So same thing, wipe with the embossing powder, stamp in the Versamark ink, sprinkle generously with the white embossing powder. I love embossing. It's my favorite thing. I do it on almost all my cards. Whether it's like, big or the sentiment or a little detail, I really do a lot of embossing. I just love it. I think it adds such a nice touch. So then you're going to take your heat tool, and I've done this before, you've done it at home, and you're going to heat until it goes from a powder to a nice shiny white. Okay, it takes a little bit to heat up. As soon as it's glossy, you're good. Whoop, come on. I'm just going to do the other one as well while I have it out. And you can see it kind of like takes shape. Perfect. Don't overheat. You'll burn your paper. Been there, done that. Give it a second to cool because it is a little tacky for like a few seconds. Not a long time, but I have put it in before and it's been tacky and smeared all over the place. So I'm just going to cut them out with our punch here. Slide them in the back, line them up, and punch as it goes flying. I just love that this bundle comes with 2 punches. I think that's so fun. So fun. And punches are really easy to use. They're really user-friendly if you're just starting off stamping or if you've been doing it a while. They're nice and quick and easy, and they're just so user-friendly. So those are our 2 ornaments. Before I adhere those down, I'm going to work on this little flourish running down the side of my card here. And I did do that with the Stamparatus, which I totally didn't even pull out, so I can pull it out here. Where is it? Here we go. I did this, if you, well, you're on Facebook, so you might have seen me post about it yesterday. I did put it on my Instagram page as well, that the image works perfectly with the Stamparatus. And I'm going to use it tonight to do it, kind of let you see it firsthand. I didn't even get this one out. Look, I haven't even pulled it out. So this little flourish, it's very subtle because I'm going to do it in the Pretty Peacock. So it's the same color and I'm just going to run it down, and it is pretty subtle. It's not like really in your face standing out, but it's a nice touch, I think, especially for this kind of side of the paper. I'm going to start with it kind of running off the page a little bit because I want to. And I'm going to pick it up with my Stamparatus, my hinge. Let's see, can I get everything on here? I apologize for the glare. That is my lamp. There's nothing I can do about that. If I turn it off, we'll be in the dark. So I apologize for that glare. I have my stamp ready to go. I'm going to use my Pretty Peacock ink. And let's see here. Ink it up. Try not to get it all over the place like I just did over there. And swing your hinge around, stamp down, and we have a good stamp there. Then I'm going to unhinge it, go 1, 2, down. I hope you can still see it. I'm running out of room here. My stand's in the way. Re-ink it, swing your hinge, stamp. Beautiful. You're going to have to move your magnet. Move your hinge down 2 more times. Oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I can't talk and do this at the same time. Can you see? I'm sorry. You're going to re-ink your image, your flourish, and move your hinge. Ta-da! So that you are left, let me just get this out of the way here, with a cascading little detail going down the bottom of your card. I love that it works perfectly with the Stamparatus. 1, because it's a red rubber stamp, so it's not like the photopolymer that you can just see exactly the placement of it. And so you could be likely to kind of, if you're not really, really careful, kind of have it going all over the place. And it's perfectly spaced. There's a little bit of a space in between them, but nothing like super noticeable. I think it just looks very natural. I know the hinges are great, Roz. I tell you, Stampin' Up! Really knew what they were doing. They really thought that through. It's like perfect for projects such as this. So again, I have that just kind of running down the side. Let's go ahead and adhere our ornaments. I'm just gonna ink them up, not ink them up. Put a whole bunch of adhesive on it, and I'm going to kind of push my card flat because I want to make sure my ornament is kind of in the negative that was created in that front piece of the card. And then the other one as well. Hold it down. And then this kind of, you just have to pop up, back up. Okay. Ta-da! So fun. I love this fold. I want to like use it again. A couple times just to, I don't know, it's just fun. It's really fun. So let's see here. Let's next do the sentiment. It's a solid sentiment. So what you see in black is what's going to be stamped in whatever color you ink it up in. So I'm going to be using my Night of Navy, and I just need a piece of scrap paper. So how about that? And ta-da. I'm going to actually fussy cut this out because it's really easy because of the lines. You could use a trimmer if you so wish, but I think scissors do the job. My Night of Navy is like super, super, super juicy, so I just have to, I don't want to smear it. I got to make sure it's super dry. And I'm going to go just outside of what was stamped. So I'm going to leave it ever so slight matting to it, I guess is how I would call that. And again, if you didn't feel like you could have a steady enough hand, you could use a paper cutter, but I think this is small enough that I don't think you can mess it up too bad. Just take your time. So that's the key to fussy cutting, is like you can't be in any rush. You just got to take your time. No rushing allowed. I'm going to need that in a second. And then let's just adhere our sentiment down. I considered using dimensionals because I love dimensionals. I use them all the time. But I don't know. I thought the card was just kind of nice without them. You could have also adhered the ornaments in dimensionals. I don't know. I didn't want to. I didn't think like this flap would stay down if I had used the dimensionals. So I decided against it. Okay, so next I'm going to create my holly and berries here. And honestly, this guy was a very, very last minute decision to put him on. I actually, up until like an hour ago, didn't have this. It was just blank. But I thought once you opened it, it was kind of missing something here. So like that, I just felt it was kind of missing something. So I created 3, and it's this guy here. We're going to stamp him 3 times in Memento black ink on Whisper white cardstock. Oop, look. I guess it was still inked up a little bit from before. So you're going to ink them up, stamp once, ink them up, stamp. Actually, we could kind of fit them twice, ink them up, stamp 3 times. And then you're going to take, I have the Mossy Meadow light and dark Stampin' Blends markers, as well as the Cherry Cobbler light and dark Stampin' Blends markers. I know. Hi, Rachel. Oh, thanks, Patricia. Appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. And I'm glad you like it. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the leaves. I always like to just kind of color the whole image in with the lighter of the shade. So this is the light Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to start with like the brush end. And I kind of just fill it all in. Get some color on it. And then the other one as well. If I wasn't doing this live, I'd probably be taking my time a little bit more, so I wasn't going outside the lines. But, you know, it's artistic. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then I come with the darker, in this case, the dark Mossy Meadow one. Hi, Tina. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. And I add the lowlights where I think there would be a shadow. Obviously, the green in it would be a little bit darker. And there would probably be a shadow from these berries hanging down, and like maybe a few along the edges. And then I come back with my light Stampin' Blends, and I kind of make all those colors become really good friends and blend them together. So it really is a subtle. You could leave it like that and keep the lines distinguishing between the light and the dark marker, or you could blend them back together for sort of a more subtle coloring. And depending if you want a darker look, you just keep layering these colors. If I were to keep coming through, it would just keep getting darker and darker. So 2 markers, but really you can add so many different shades of color to your images, which is really, really great. So next I'm going to come with the light Cherry Cobbler. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to come with the dark. Again, the paintbrush. I like the paintbrush for like bigger images. You know, I don't have to worry so much about a fine, you know, any like intricate. I can kind of just throw this on with a brush easily enough. Ta-da. Now, I would do that for all 3 of them. And then you're going to take your paper snips and you're going to very carefully cut them out. Now, again, I don't mind fussy cutting, but I know some people hate it. And honest to goodness, my biggest tip that I can give you is just to take your time. Go slowly and just take your time. Like, I really am like, there's no rush in the world. I try and keep about the same kind of space just around my image. It's a little easier as opposed to trying to butt up right up to that black line. If you leave a little bit of a white space, it's kind of like a grace space, so to speak. And I went all the way around. That's okay, Karen. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining. And you're going to be left with, I did some card magic. Ta-da! I figured you didn't want to watch me color and fussy cut out 3 of these things. I think these are fun. Even, you know, in and of themselves, these holly leaves and the berries are so fun for a card to color in with lots of different images. You can make a wreath out of these, you know, kind of put them all around, a whole bunch of them and make like a wreath. I just love these. I love the ornaments, but the ornaments are fun, but I really, really love this image. I'm kind of a sucker for holly leaves anyways. So, we're going to just adhere them down with snail, nothing fancy. This one doesn't matter because he's kind of towards the top, so I can just kind of throw this holly on. Oh, I can't get to it. There we go. And then for this one, I wanted him on the top and on the bottom, but he's actually only going to be adhered to the top. I should have put my adhere. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save this one, because I'm just going to put my snail like right there on that little bit that's the flap. And then I'm going to, on the holly itself, just put it on my leaves. Because if I go too crazy with putting adhesive like around the berries, it's actually going to adhere to the ornament, and I don't want that to happen. You and Mary, the fussy cutting queens. Oh, I do enjoy it. Not so much. It's like a new found love. I didn't really like it, you know, when I started crafting, but I appreciate the images that you can get from fussy cutting. I do like that. So when you open it, that one holly stays on the flap. Now, see what I mean? I had it just like that for literally up until like an hour ago. And I was just like, I feel like it's kind of bare over here. So I did do a third one, but I kind of wanted him kind of like hidden behind this one. So what I did is I held the one holly right up to this one and then closed it and pushed so that it would end up exactly where that first one was. I mean, you could have it showing through, but I don't know. I didn't want to. So that's why I did this way. So that's our front. That's our first inside. And then we have a second inside. Now, here's the thing. I'm not usually one to stamp the inside of the card. However, I found last year when I was sending my Christmas cards that I had like 50 cards that had nothing written on the inside, nothing stamped. And I literally took one day and stamped the insides of every single of my cards, my Christmas cards. So my goal this year is to, when I'm making a Christmas card, to also do the inside so that when I'm getting ready to mail them, I'm not scrambling to stamp the inside of my cards, but they're all ready to go. Normally I like to write a nice big like handwritten something, but obviously if you're sending 50 cards, it's hard to do that. So I usually stamp and then like a little blip, and then I sign the bottom of it. So for that, I used, oh, you know what? It's got a Versa mark on it. I used that same ornament, the bigger of the ornaments. And I stamped that one first in our Pretty Peacock ink. And I stamped off because I wanted to be able to stamp the sentiment on top of it and it to still be able to show. So, and actually, I only stamped off once, but I think I might stamp off again. What would that look like? Yeah, I think I'm going to stamp off twice because it was still kind of dark. So I stamped off twice the Pretty Peacock. Down it goes. So it gets that. And then our sentiment, the one that I'm using, there's some really great ones in this set, but I'm using the Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. Oops, sorry. And that one's going to go in that Night of Navy. Again, my color palette is mostly Night of Navy with the Pretty Peacock with that touch of Mossy Meadow and Cherry Cobbler for the holly. And aim for straight and center. Sometimes that's just as challenging. Hi, Akiko. Good evening. And there's our sentiment. Oh, not completely center in the ornament, but I think it works great nonetheless. So, just making sure that's really dry. I don't want it to smear. Are we good? It didn't smear? Okay, perfect. And then that goes on our inside flap here. So there's a front flap, our first inside flap, and then an inside flap. So like that, then that. Isn't that fun? I just thought that was so fun. Again, all credit to Jan. This was Jan Tinkelbergs. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but I got inspiration from her card that I found on Pinterest. So there you go. If you've been watching this tutorial and would like a chance to win this card, I'd be happy to pop it in the mail. Just make sure you've made some sort of a comment on this post. It can even be an emoji if you don't want to type something. And then at the end, I'll draw a name for someone to receive tonight's card. So fun. I love it. Love it. Okay, guys, I will be back next week. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time out of your Wednesday evening. I will see you next week for another tutorial. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.